What I'm about to reveal to you now could change your life. There is a hidden secret in Psalm 30 that most people never notice, and that's exactly why they suffer harm. God has embedded a powerful code here, something capable of transforming your pain into joy, your weaknesses into strength, your defeat into victory. But almost no one talks about this. Now pay close attention. If you feel like you're stuck in an endless cycle, if you've tried everything and nothing seems to change, this video is for you. Maybe the answer you've been searching for is right before your eyes, but you never knew how to use it, and I will show you exactly how to activate this power today. But be careful. This message is not for those who want to continue living on autopilot. It is for those who are ready for radical transformation. If you truly desire a new season in your life, then stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to reveal may be the missing piece for your victory. Have you ever felt like your life was falling apart and there was no way out? That pain, anguish, and fear seemed endless. Psalm 30 carries a powerful secret, a spiritual code capable of transforming suffering into joy, sickness into healing, weakness into strength. And believe me, very few know about this power. If you've never used this song the right way, you're missing the chance to change your life right now. When everything seems lost, the only thing that can keep us standing is faith. But are we activating our faith the right way? When King David wrote the song, he revealed a profound mystery about deliverance and healing, a secret that has transcended centuries and still works today. What he discovered might be exactly what you need to turn things around. Have you ever wondered how many blessings you might have missed because you didn't understand how to call upon God with power? Many believe that just asking and waiting is enough, but the truth is there is a pattern, a spiritual key to turning prayer into a miracle. Psalm 30 is not just words on paper. It is a decree of victory, a sure path for those who need an urgent turnaround. God never intended for you to live in emotional misery, pain, and despair. He has already provided everything you need in this song, but the question is, are you willing to understand and apply it today? Because those who grasp this mystery never remain in darkness. It's time to wake up to what can truly transform your life. And what if all that's missing for your breakthrough is just one prayer? Psalm 30 teaches us that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. But how do we make this joy a reality? How do we use this song as a spiritual weapon? Are you ready to find out? Then hold on to this answer, because the next point will reveal something even deeper. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to live under God's grace, while others struggle endlessly in suffering? Is it luck? Does God choose to bless some and ignore others? The hard truth is, many are living far below what they could, because they haven't understood the real power of faith and prayer. This isn't a minor detail. It's the difference between victory and defeat, healing and pain, living and nearly surviving. Prayer is not just a polite request. It is a weapon of war. David didn't just pray. He cried out, he shouted for deliverance. And you know what happened? God answered. But what about you? Are you praying like someone who truly expects a miracle? Or are you just murmuring empty words, hoping for some random result? If your prayer life isn't bringing transformation, then maybe it's time to change the way you connect with God. Faith is not a plan B, it's all or nothing. Either you trust God completely, or you are at the mercy of the chaos of this world. There is no middle ground. When David was on the brink of death, he didn't waver, he didn't question. He cried out with all his strength, because he knew that God is faithful, and that's how he experienced the impossible. So the big question is, are you ready to do the same? Or will you continue living on autopilot, hoping that things will somehow improve on their own? No matter how big your problem is, God is greater. But here's a secret that few people know. He acts in the lives of those who learn to call upon him the right way. If your faith hasn't been moving mountains, maybe it's because you haven't truly discovered how to activate it. And what if I told you that the right prayer could unlock everything that has been stuck in your life? Would you let this opportunity pass by? And what if I told you that David's story reveals a hidden code for radical transformation, a secret so powerful that it could rewrite your destiny? In the next point, you will understand how this song was born and why it might be the missing key to your victory. Did you know that this song was born from a near-death experience? David wasn't comfortable when he wrote these words. He wasn't in a palace celebrating victories. He was on the verge of destruction, a sick weekend, and feeling like his life was slipping through his fingers. It was at that moment that he did something that changed everything. He cried out, he called for help, and God answered. Now tell me what if the only thing standing between you and your victory is a true cry for help? Here's the truth no one tells you. God cannot resist a broken heart. You may be facing pain, loss, crises, but if you learn to call upon his name the right way, everything can change. David did it. And what happened? The impossible. God pulled him out of the pit, restored his health, and changed his story. Now answer me. How long will you keep trying to handle everything on your own, carrying burdens that were never meant for you? Most people want the miracle, but few are willing to do what David did. He didn't just pray, he cried out with all his soul. He surrendered. And what about you? Are you expecting God to move, but without taking a step toward him? True faith is not passive. It is total surrender. If you want to see transformation, you need to learn to pray with the same intensity. As someone who has seen death up close and decided to fight, David made a promise to God. I will exalt you forever, because you have delivered me from death. Now think with me. How many times have you been delivered without even realizing it? That accident that almost happened, that door that closed, only for you to later understand it was protection. God is already working in your life, but are you acknowledging it? Psalm 30 is not just a record of a miracle, it is a survival manual for those who need healing and deliverance now. But what happens after the healing? How do you turn a miracle into a completely restored life? Because God doesn't just want to lift you up, he wants to give you a new destiny. The next point reveals a principle so powerful that it could change everything for you. Enough the sadness settles in, and you start to believe this will be your reality forever. But what if I told you that's a lie? Yes, because Psalm 30 reveals a truth that can change everything. God turns mourning into dancing. But pay attention, this promise isn't for just anyone. Only those who learn to activate their faith for real will experience this transformation. The question is, are you ready to be lifted up? Or will you keep accepting this pain? As part of your identity, David wasn't just healed, he was rebuilt. The man who almost died became stronger, wiser, and more prepared. But why? Because he didn't just receive the miracle, he allowed God to transform him completely. Many people want victory, but they don't want to change. They want victory, but they don't want to leave the past behind. And here's the truth no one tells you. If you don't change your mindset, you'll keep living in the same place, even after God opens a new door for you. What if I told you that the only thing missing for your transformation is already right in front of your eyes? God doesn't just want to take you out of suffering, he wants to take you to a level you never imagined. But for that to happen, you need to take a step. You need to let go of fear. Release the past and decide to live as someone who is already won. The transformation you desire has already been declared. But are you ready to receive it now? Pay close attention. God has already exchanged your mourning clothes for garments of joy, but you're still insisting on wearing the old ones. How many people receive a new chance and continue living as if they were defeated? The greatest prison isn't your circumstances, it's your mindset. And what if the only thing separating you from the life God has prepared for you is just the way you see things? It's time to break that barrier. But how can you experience this change permanently? Because God doesn't just want to restore you, he wants you to live a completely new life. There is a secret in Psalm 30 that few people notice, but it may be the missing piece for your total breakthrough. And that's what we're going to talk about now. How many times have you found yourself stuck in a cycle that never ends? The pain arrives, sadness settles in, and little by little, you start believing this will be your reality forever. But what if I told you that's a lie? Yes, because Psalm 30 reveals a principle that can change everything. God turns mourning into dancing, but only for those who choose to activate their faith. The big question is, are you ready to be lifted up? Or have you already accepted this pain as part of who you are? David wasn't just healed, he was rebuilt. The man who almost died became stronger, wiser, and more prepared. But do you know what made the difference? He didn't just receive the miracle, he allowed God to transform him completely. Many people want to be blessed, but they don't want to change. They want to leave the crisis behind, but they won't let go of the mindset that keeps them trapped. And here's the brutal truth. If you don't change your way of thinking, you'll keep living in the same place, even after God opens a new door for you. And what if I told you that the only thing separating you from your transformation is already right in front of your eyes. God doesn't just want to relieve your suffering. He wants to take you to a level you never imagined. But that requires a move from you. No more excuses. No more carrying old wounds like trophies. If you want change, you need to let go of fear. Release the past and live as someone who has already won, because the transformation you've been waiting for has already been declared. But are you truly ready to receive it? Now pay attention. God has already exchanged your mourning clothes for garments of joy, but you're still insisting on wearing the old ones. How many people receive a new chance and continue moving forward as if they were still defeated? The worst prison isn't outside. It's inside your mind. Have you ever stopped to think that maybe the only blockage between you and the life God has prepared for you is the way you see things? It's time to break this barrier once and for all. But there's a detail that most people ignore. God doesn't just want to restore you. He wants you to live a completely new life. But how can this change be permanent? There's a secret in Psalm 30 that few people notice, and that's what we're going to talk about now. And what if I told you that you are much closer to your victory than you think? I know maybe right now everything seems difficult, unfair, too heavy, but Psalm 30 brings a promise that overcomes any despair. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Now tell me, do you really believe this? Or have you already gotten used to the pain? Because believe me, God does not lie. And this night that seems endless already has an appointed time to end. God's mercy never fails, but the big question is, can you endure the wait? Many people give up in the middle of the journey because they think God has forgotten them. But let me remind you of something. If God brought you this far, He will take you to the end. The delay is not negative. It's strategic. God's timing is not yours, but it is perfect now. The question remains, do you trust Him, or do you just say you trust Him? Do you know why? Many people never see the morning arrive because they give up before the sun rises. They get tired, discouraged, and go back to square one, just when they were about to see the turnaround. But here's a hard truth. Those who stop halfway never reach their destination. So I ask you, will you hold on, or will you throw everything away right now? When you're closer than ever. Now stop and think. How many times has God already sustained you when you thought you couldn't take it anymore? How many books has He given you that you haven't even seen? If you're still here, it's because He has already protected you more times than you can count, and He didn't bring you this far to abandon you. Now your time of joy has already been declared. Can you see it? But here's the detail that few notice. When God promises joy in the morning, He's not just talking about a temporary problem. He's talking about a permanent transformation. But how do you prepare for this new season? How can you make sure that when this morning arrives, you're ready to live the extraordinary? In the next part, you will discover something that can change everything. Now tell me honestly, are you ready to take the next step? Or will you keep living as before? Because after everything you've heard about Psalm 30, ignoring this call would be the worst possible choice. God has already left the path open, but only you can decide to walk through it. The time of waiting is over. Now is the time to act. Your life doesn't have to stay the way it is. If God has already promised transformation, healing, and freedom, why are you still hesitating? What are you waiting for? The perfect moment? The strength you think you lack? Let me tell you something. The moment perfect never comes. You are the one who needs to take the first step. And that step can start now, with a sincere prayer and a firm decision not to turn back. But pay attention. Praying isn't just about saying beautiful words. It's about truly connecting with God. It's about opening your heart, letting go of pride, and speaking to Him as if your life depends on it. Because in reality it does. If you feel lost, if you need a radical change, then stop everything right now and talk to God. This could be the exact moment of your breakthrough. Now tell me, do you want to experience this transformation? Or will you keep putting off your victory? Because what you do from this moment on defines your future. Psalm 30 didn't come to you by accident. This is your opportunity to leave behind everything that has been holding you back and step into the freedom God has already prepared for you. But the decision is in your hands. If this video spoke to you, don't keep this message to yourself. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share it with someone who also needs to hear this. Together we will continue discovering the secrets that God has for us. Now tell me in the comments, what part of this message touched your heart the most? And now let me ask you, are you going to leave this video and keep living the same way? Or will you make a decision now? God has already declared victory over your life, but He doesn't force anyone to receive it. The question is, will you take this key and open the door? Or will you keep waiting for everything to change on its own? Because the truth is tough. Those who don't take action stay in the same place. If God has already promised transformation, why are you still hesitating? What are you waiting for? The perfect moment? The perfect moment never comes. Those who experience the supernatural are not the ones who just watch, but those who decide to step into the battle and activate their faith for real. So enough with excuses. God is calling you right now. But listen carefully. Hearing this message and not acting on it is like having a weapon and not using it in battle. Now that you know the secret of Psalm 30, will you apply it or forget it and continue living on autopilot? The choice is yours, but no, this could be your last chance. Before your breakthrough, if this word hit you hard, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and send this video to someone who needs this revelation. Be part of this movement of transformation right now. And now I want to know, which part of this message impacted you the most? Comment below because I will read and respond. If God spoke to you, don't stay silent. Declare in the comments, I claim my victory.